I'm Jim. I'm chairman of the board.
Ryan, sparkling lead guitarist.
Sarah, I sing.
I'm Kelly, sanitation.
Archie, I'm in Velocity Girl.
Velocity Girl was a DC-based band that did get started in the late 80s. However, their time in the sun was during the Sub Pop early 90s heyday. Sub Pop honestly being a label that took a lot of risks. Go watch my Eric's Trip video for more on that.
Case of Sub Pop Records, which seems to have become a virtual breeding ground for breakthrough artists.
Although Sub Pop, they're mainly known for the blooming grunge scene from the time, releasing Nirvana's first effort and whatnot, they did have a whole other, more alternative, avant-garde side that I always appreciated.
Ourselves as a grassroots operation, however, the larger an organization becomes, the more unwieldy it becomes. It's a tough thing, and it's something you have to fight every day. At the same time, we feel comfortable with the concept of, selling millions of records by these artists, Nirvana being a perfect example. I mean, their first record came out of this company.
We're trying to get out of the contract as hard as we can.
I can imagine, yeah. And that's quite an unusual signing for Velocity Girl to that label.
Well, I think given the recent focus of the label, not necessarily because you look at Spinanes, Codeine, Hazel, and then in the past, Beat Happening and stuff like that.
Right.
Sunday Real Estate.
Yeah.
Just off the top of my head, I don't know.
It seems to fit in with the new focus of the label.
Right.
They've always been into what is happening at the time, and when grunge, or as it was going on, they were on top of that. Now something else is going on, so they're on top of that.
And with Velocity Girl, we got a more kind of British kind of vibe on this sound. With the best elements of that scene, the DC stuff, rather than grunge icons. And Velocity Girl, well, they seem to go out of their way to go to a lot of places musically. They have one of the best guitarists I think I've ever heard from a group like this, which is why I love their first album. And to be honest, I consider this thing a legit classic. You can tell that with their singles, they were given a more pop and overall polished sound, Of course, that's just the game, I guess, even with Sub Pop. Only to hear the full album, though, and you get fully exposed to the more shoegaze and dream pop elements. But it's all just worked so well. One hell of a debut. The group would release 2 more albums in the 90s. Their follow-up, Simpatico, which largely shelved the group's sounds that weren't mainstream pop influence. However, it did spawn perhaps my favorite single from the band.
Well, I guess that I was wrong. Well, I guess that I was wrong. I was mistaken all along.
And with 1996's Gilded Stars and Zealous Hearts, an album that I do enjoy, I still find it to be kind of Velocity Girls settling into the safe, disposable landscape of overproduced pop rock that was saturating the market in 1996. Everyone remembers that, right? Seriously, so many mediocre milquetoast bands in that era were just doing gangbusters on the charts, and it had a lot of exposure. And sadly, in my opinion, again, I feel that Velocity Girl fell victim to that era. And we sadly never got another album from the band.
On the road of life, there are passengers and there are drivers.
Velocity Girl did have highs and lows, though. I think objectively, a high point was appearing on the Clueless soundtrack. Absolutely love that movie, by the way. It's the bomb. But largely, the grouping of lead guitarist and vocalist Archie Moore and vocalist Kelly Young. Seriously though, Archie Moore, one of my favorite guitarists now. I mean, there really is some innovative and fun guitar work throughout. And I mean, they garnered respect from their peers and were accepted overseas even, and even got a Peel session. I mean, if a band can manage to have at least one memorable album, that's something, right? Velocity Girl makes for a real gem of a group to go back and listen to. Now, they did reunite a few times. Velocity Girl is a group that just belongs in the 90s.